Good evening, friends. Let me begin by telling you something simple, yet powerful. Energy is everything. Not just physical energy, but mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy. And here's the catch. If you don't master your energy, something else will. Your circumstances will. Your distractions will. Your bad habits will. So how do we begin? Let me give you a handful of ideas that changed my life. Energy is a choice. It's not a mystery, not a mood, not a feeling that shows up when it feels like it. No, it's something you decide on. Now sure, there are days when you feel like $1,000,000, and there are days when you don't. But if you only move when you feel good, you won't move much. If you only smile when things are going your way, you won't smile often. And if you only act when life gives you a green light, you'll spend most of your life stuck at red. See, energy is less about how you feel and more about what you decide. You don't wait for energy, you generate it. It's not lightning, it's not luck, it's design. Let me give you a little example. Have you ever noticed how two people can wake up to the same day? Same weather, same news, same traffic. But one of them attacks the day while the other drags through it. What's the difference? Choice. One decided to own the day, the other decided to watch it happen. So how do you start to choose energy? It begins the night before. You go to bed with a plan, not just a pillow. You write out your goals, you lay out your clothes, you tell your mind what tomorrow is for. That simple act, intention, creates momentum. Then in the morning, you don't check your phone before you check your attitude. You get up like it matters, because it does. You stretch, you read, you pray, you journal, you move, and when the body moves, the mind follows. It's a choice. Now I know what some folks say. Well, I'm just not a morning person. But I say this, neither was I until I decided to be. It's not about personality, it's about purpose, and purpose will give you more energy than coffee ever could. Let me give you another idea. Energy loves clarity. When you're clear on what you're doing and why it's easier to get up, to move, to lead. But confusion, that drains you. Trying to figure out what matters while you're already late. That's a formula for fatigue. So here's a tip. Get clear. Clarity is fuel, and the clearer you are, the more energetic you become. Now, I'm not saying every day will be perfect. Some days will test you. But remember, you can feel tired and still move with energy. You can be unsure and still act with confidence, because energy, my friend, is not a gift. It's a discipline. You must guard the gate of your mind. Now what does that mean? It means your mind is a garden, and like any garden, it will grow something. If you don't plant flowers, don't be surprised when weeds show up. And if you don't stand guard at the entrance, anything will wander in. See, we all have a mental gate, but most people, they leave it wide open. They let anybody walk through it with their opinions. They let the news come in and dump a bucket of fear. They let negativity visit and then offer it a couch to stay the night. But here's what I learned. You can't let everything in and expect to stay strong. You've got to be the gatekeeper, not the doormat, not the sponge, not the echo chamber. The gatekeeper, let me ask you, what are you letting into your mind these days? Because what you consume, you eventually become. You listen to complaints all day. Don't be surprised when you start complaining. You scroll through envy, gossip, distraction. You start to lose your edge. And you may not even notice it at first. That's how it works. It's subtle. The soil doesn't argue with the seed. It just grows it. So you've got to choose the seed. Now, what should you let in? Let in ideas that stretch you. Let in voices that build you. Let in truth that challenges you. Let in stories that remind you of what's possible. Read books that make you stand taller. Hang around people who speak vision, not just volume. Listen to mentors, not just noise. You say, but I don't have a mentor. Start with a book. The right book can mentor you better than the wrong friend ever will. And here's another thing. Be careful who you give the microphone to. Just because someone is loud doesn't mean they're right. Just because someone has access to your ears doesn't mean they've earned access to your mind. Protect it. Why? Because your mind is where belief begins, and belief is where energy lives. Once you let doubt set up camp in your thinking, it doesn't just sit there quietly. It builds walls. It installs limits. It starts turning why not into why bother. And before long, you're not just low on energy, you're low on vision, and all of that began not with a major failure, but with one small moment. You let something in that should have stayed out. So here's what I learned to do. I audit my input. I check the gates daily, not with paranoia, but with purpose. Because when the right things come in, the right things come out. And when the wrong things come in, well, you can only fake it for so long. Now, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be aware. Because if you don't shape your thinking, the world will do it for you. And the world isn't always aiming to make you stronger. So decide today to raise the standard at the gate. Decide what's allowed. Decide what's not. And above all, remember this. Motion creates emotion. Now most people have it backwards. They say, well, when I feel better, I'll do better. But that's not how it works. If you wait to feel like it, you might be waiting a long time. I used to say that too. I don't feel motivated. I'm not in the mood. I'm just not inspired today. But then I discovered something. You don't need motivation to move. You need movement to find motivation. That one shift changed everything. See, your body and your mind are on the same team. They talk to each other constantly. If you slump your shoulders, sigh a lot, drag your feet, your brain hears the message. It says, oh, I guess we're tired, discouraged, maybe even defeated. And it adjusts your mood to match your posture. But try this. Stand tall, shoulders back, walk with purpose, even if you don't know exactly where you're going yet. Move like you're on a mission, and your brain starts getting the message. Oh, something's happening here. We're up to something. Before long, your emotions start catching up with your body, not because you waited for inspiration, but because you moved toward it. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is lead yourself. Lead your energy with action. Ever been stuck in a rut at home? You sit too long, think too long, scroll too long. Before you know it, you feel foggy, sluggish, even anxious. So what do? You get up, you move, you go outside, take a walk, clean the garage, do the dishes, something, anything. And isn't it funny how just 10 minutes of movement can clear up what hours of thinking couldn't? Why? Because energy doesn't live in the couch, it lives in action. Now I know some folks say, but I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know where to start. Start small. You don't need to run a marathon. Just take a lap around the block. You don't need to solve the problem. Just stand up and straighten your desk. Start moving, then thinking, not the other way around, because here's the truth. You can't steer a parked car, but once you're in motion. Even a small turn of the wheel changes everything. So if you want better emotions, try better motions. You don't wait to feel grateful. Move like someone who's grateful. You don't wait to feel confident. Walk like someone who's preparing to win. You don't wait to feel happy. Act like someone who still has something to give. Your energy doesn't live in your feelings. It lives in your feet. And when your feet start moving, your life does too. Low energy is expensive. Now I don't mean the kind of expense you notice right away. I mean the kind that slowly drains you. The kind that costs you more than you realize. In missed opportunities, poor decisions, strained relationships, and lost time. And here's the catch. You don't get an invoice for it. Nobody knocks on your door and says, Here's the bill for being tired all week. But trust me, the cost adds up. Let me ask you this. Have you ever looked back on a moment, a meeting, a conversation, and thought, man, if I had just been more present, more sharp, more clear? That's what I'm talking about. Low energy leads to low awareness. Low awareness leads to low standards. And low standards, that's how we end up settling for less than we're capable of. See, when your energy is low, everything takes longer. Simple tasks feel heavy. Small problems feel big. That email you should have sent in 5 minutes takes you an hour. Because your mind's in a fog, and the danger is, it becomes normal. You start adjusting to low energy like a thermostat stuck on the wrong setting. You say, well, I'm just tired today. Then it becomes tomorrow. Then it becomes a pattern, and before long, you're operating on fumes and calling it productivity. But here's the good news. Energy is something you build, not something you borrow. Now sure, you can grab a cup of coffee. I love a good one myself, but coffee isn't a strategy. It's a temporary loan, and too many folks are trying to fix chronic fatigue with temporary energy. That's like taping a flashlight to your car and calling it headlights. It might work for a moment, but not for the journey. So what do? We get serious about the cost. We stop treating exhaustion like a badge of honor. Being busy isn't the same as being effective. Running on empty doesn't make you noble. It makes you vulnerable. You need clarity to lead. You need presence to connect. You need energy to show up fully. So if you're dragging through your days, let me ask you, what is it costing you? What's the price you're paying in quality, in connection, in confidence? And are you willing to keep paying that price? Because here's the truth. You can't afford low energy. Not if you want to live at your full potential. You can't afford to coast. You can't afford to fake it, force it, or patch it up. You need to build real energy, energy that's earned, not borrowed. Discipline doesn't drain you, discipline charges you. Most people think discipline is about restriction. They think it's about rules, routines, rigidity. But let me tell you what I found. Discipline is the secret source of energy. It's the charger you plug into every day if you're wise enough to use it. See, discipline builds confidence, and confidence builds momentum. And momentum, that's where energy explodes. Now I used to think discipline meant waking up early just to be tired sooner. But what I learned is, it's not about when you get up. It's about who you become by doing what you said you would do. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, something changes. Your mind starts to trust you. Your emotions start to settle. Your energy starts to rise, because there's power in knowing, I did what I said I would, even if it's small. Even if no one sees it. Make the bed, read the page, drink the water, go on the walk, turn off the screen, say no, when it's easier to say yes. Tiny acts of self-respect, that's discipline and self-respect. That's energy, because when you respect yourself, you stop leaking energy on guilt, procrastination, and regret. Some people spend all day resting, but they're still tired. Why? Because it's not your body that's exhausted. It's your conscience. You said you'd do it, and you didn't. So now you're carrying the weight of unfinished business, and let me tell you, there's no nap that will fix that. Only discipline can. Now some folks say, I don't have the energy to be disciplined. But I say, you don't have the discipline, and that's why you don't have the energy. It's not a loop, it's a ladder, and every step of consistency lifts you a little higher, because discipline is where your inner world gets cleaned up. It's where chaos starts to clear. It's where focus returns. It's where energy becomes steady. Not based on moods, not based on circumstances, but based on who you've trained yourself to be. And here's the real power. You don't need discipline for everything, just for the right things. The keystone habits, the first 30 minutes of your day, the structure that sets the tone. See, discipline is a decision that multiplies. You make it once, and it blesses you all day long. You eat well in the morning, and you think better at noon. You move your body early, and you're more present in the meeting. You prepare before bed, and tomorrow starts ahead of schedule. It all connects. That's why I say, discipline is a battery charger, not for your phone, not for your schedule, but for you. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Now, what's the difference? A thermometer tells you what the temperature is. It reacts, it adjusts to the room. If it's hot, it goes up. If it's cold, it goes down. It doesn't lead, it follows. But a thermostat, that's different. A thermostat sets the temperature. It decides. It says this is how it's going to be. And the environment responds to it. And that, my friend, is how you lead your life. With intention, not reaction. Too many people live like thermometers. They walk into a room and ask, what's the vibe? Are people negative? Is this a good day or a bad day? What kind of mood is everyone in? And they let that answer decide how they show up. But the ones who stand out, who rise, who influence, who inspire, they walk in and set the temperature, they bring the attitude, they bring the energy, they bring the standard. Now, don't get me wrong, life will test you. People will gossip, traffic will jam, plans will shift, you'll get calls you weren't ready for, but that's where the real decision comes in. You ask, will I reflect this chaos, or will I correct it? Because here's the thing, if you're always reacting, you're always behind. You're never in charge, you're just catching up. But when you set the tone, you take the lead. That's true in your home. If you're waiting for everyone to be kind before you speak kindly, you're not leading, you're echoing. But if you decide, in this house, we speak with respect, in this house, we encourage, we stay calm, we lift each other, you just became the thermostat. It's true in business. You show up to that meeting tired, sloppy, negative. Guess what? You just gave permission for everyone else to do the same. But you walk in sharp, ready, focused. You raise the room, and people don't forget that. It's true in your mindset. Most people adjust their attitude to match their circumstances. The weather's bad, they're down. The market's slow, they're nervous. Someone's rude, they're bitter. They match whatever's around them. But those who grow, they don't match their environment, they transform it. They walk in with peace into a storm. They show up with purpose into confusion. They bring order into chaos, not because life is easy, but because they've made a decision. I set the tone. I lead the moment. I carry the standard. And once you decide that, once you believe that, you'll find something strange happens. The room starts to shift because energy is contagious, clarity is magnetic, and conviction, real, steady, quiet conviction. It doesn't shout, but it doesn't bend either. People may resist it at first, but eventually they follow it, not because you demanded it, but because you demonstrated it. Now, it's not about being perfect. You'll have days where you slip, but even then, you reset. Because that's what thermostats do. They don't quit. They recalibrate. Master your energy, or your energy will master you. And not in some mystical, floating, hard-to-grasp way, no. In the practical, everyday kind of way that shows up in your calendar, your habits, your conversations, your results. Because energy is the driver. And you don't get very far with a full plan and an empty tank. So what did we say? We said, energy is a choice, not a mystery. You can build it, you can lose it, but you're not powerless over it. Guard the gate of your mind. Because whatever gets in starts to grow. Motion creates emotion, so don't wait for inspiration. Move toward it. Low energy is expensive, and the price is often paid in regret, not dollars. Discipline is a battery charger. Not a punishment, but the greatest form of self-respect. And finally, be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Set the tone, don't just reflect it. And if you stack those together, one on top of another, you get a very different kind of life. Not a perfect one, but a deliberate one. Not free of challenge, but full of capacity. Because when you master your energy, You master your days, and when you master your days, you start rewriting your future. So don't wait, don't drift, don't blame, take the wheel, take the responsibility, and take the energy back, not all at once, but with one thought, one decision, one motion at a time, because success isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing the right things repeatedly, and that always starts with how you show up. So from this day forward, protect it, fuel it, lead with it, because your energy, that's not just how you feel, that's how you live.